higher paying is her chastity.
Welcome to the last year of presentation of your junior year.
It's fine.
So crazy, right? It's lovely to see you guys. Our presentation today is with James Hammer from St. Thomas. He is the Assistant Director of Admissions and Financial Aid there, and that is the topic for today. So in just 5 short months, you guys will be filling out those college applications. You guys will be deciding where to go, which is really exciting. But an essential piece of that is financial aid and scholarships to help you fund your education. And so James is going to talk about that today. Please ask questions as you have them. It is kind of a complicated process. There's lots of moving parts. So as those questions come up, feel free to ask. Here you go.
Cool. How you doing, guys? Good. You guys super stoked to learn about some financial aid? It's going to be like the most exciting part of your day right here. Guaranteed. Hopefully it's as exciting as biology or whatever class you're getting, but no promises. There's only so much I can do to make financial aid really engaging. It is kind of a dry, boring topic, but bear with me for the next 40 minutes. I will try and drop some knowledge bombs on you guys, and hopefully, a little bit of shrapnel will stick, right? We're going to take a pretty general overview. You guys are going to be doing a lot of legwork during this next year. I'd encourage you to get on college campuses and talk with them about their financial aid processes. And you'll already have a good base of knowledge that we're going to lay here today that will help you out with that process. But we're going to just talk about applying to college, a few tips there. We're going to talk about outside scholarships. We're going to talk about the federal processes, free application for federal student aid. I'll talk a little bit about special circumstances. Like she said, this is your time. So if you guys have questions, I prefer not to talk at you for 40 minutes. So if you have any questions, make sure you let me know, and we'll try and address those as we go. So this is just some information. It's a financial aid presentation, right? So you guys were expecting at least one chart, right? There's got to be a chart. This is a chart that shows you how the average American family pays for college. This is 12% comes from student income and savings. 13% typically comes from student borrowing. That's a full quarter. 25% of college costs are typically paid by students, not by parents or other family, by students alone. If you look at parents' income and savings and borrowing, you're well over 50% of the total pie of college costs are typically paid by the family. There are a lot of scholarships and aid out there specifically from schools and other sources that are going to decrease the amount that you have to pay, but this is, what happens on average. So we want all you guys to be above average. I want you to receive more aid than the typical student so that the amount that you have to pay for college is a lot less. But in order to get more aid for school, you have to do the work right now. You have to apply early. You have to look for those scholarships. So I'm going to tell you about how you can do that. The first thing you guys need to do during your senior year is prioritize your applications, okay? You're going to have a lot of applications that you need to complete, whether that's outside scholarships, the FAFSA, perhaps something called the CSS profile. The most important application that you're going to fill out is those college admissions applications. On a lot of college campuses, they use the admissions application not only to decide if they can admit you to the school, but they use that information for their own financial aid purposes as well. So when you fill out a college application, you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward because you want to be admitted, but that information is very important as it could determine financial aid you receive as well. So take time with your college applications and be thorough, okay? You want to make sure that you list on there everything that you've been doing while you're in high school, whether that's extracurriculars or other stuff, so that they know about the type of student that you are and what they're getting on their campus, and hopefully that will translate to more aid for you. So college applications are the first and most important thing because you can send your FAFSA to any school, but they're not going to process it until you're an admitted student. So you have to be admitted first before we process your FAFSA, and before any school is going to tell you about other scholarship opportunities on their campus. Most schools will offer their own scholarships to students, but they're not going to invite you to apply for those types of opportunities until you have been accepted. So college applications, that's job one. I would say FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, that is your second most important application. Every student who's going to college should be filling out a FAFSA to determine what type of need-based aid that you're eligible for. The CSS profile, I'll talk about that. Only some schools require that, so you probably won't have to fill out that application. Each school will have their own college scholarships, so you want to make sure you know about those. Like I said, most colleges will invite you to apply for college scholarships, or at least send you information about those after you're accepted. And then, of course, there's outside scholarships, stuff you can find in your local community or online, and that's an important part of how you pay for college too. Deadlines are always important, so you want to make sure you know about admission deadlines. You want to make sure you know about scholarship deadlines and don't miss any of those. So I'm going to encourage you guys to apply early. If you leave here today, that's one thing that I want you to remember. It's always better to apply early to college if you can, because you're going to wait less for a decision. So the earlier you apply in fall, the faster we're going to get through those applications and get you an admission notice. Once we get into the winter and the spring, we've got a lot more applications that we're dealing with. So it's going to take longer for a school to get back to you regarding your application. Also, those additional scholarships that I mentioned, so I'll just use my campus as an example. When you apply to St. Thomas, you fill out an admissions application. We do not have a separate financial application that you fill out. We use your admissions application to determine if you're admitted, and then we award you a merit-based scholarship just based on that. So all students get like one scholarship based on their admissions application. However, there are certain applications that you have to submit an additional scholarship application for. So if you're a student that's interested in science, math, and engineering as a potential major, or music, or business, or communications and journalism, you may be invited to apply for those other opportunities after you're admitted. However, if you've waited until, let's say, January to submit your admissions application, I will still admit you, and I'll still award you a merit-based scholarship based on that application, but all of those other scholarship applications will have already passed, and you'll have missed out on some of those other opportunities. So the longer you wait to apply, the more opportunities you may miss out on. Some schools, especially larger state schools like the U of M or University of Wisconsin-Madison, the past couple of years they have gone onto a wait list in the spring. So students that applied later in the year in spring, even though they're academically qualified to attend those institutions, they may not be able to because they're on a wait list for admission just because they've waited longer to apply. So that's another reason to apply early. Your chances of being admitted are probably better the earlier you apply. Also, some colleges may reduce the amount of aid that they offer to students. So if they offer a scholarship based on your application, as those funds are spent throughout the year, they may have less money to offer to candidates who are applying later in the spring, like in April or May. Applying early is also going to give you more time for the rest of the process. Like I said, you guys are going to have to do some work to find those other scholarships that are out there. The more time you can leave yourself to look for those scholarships, the better results you're going to have. So apply early in the fall if you can. Most colleges open up their applications during the summer, and they will have maybe some, you can submit obviously final transcripts and all that stuff early in the fall. ACT or SAT scores you can submit early in the fall. So I would encourage you guys to have all of your college scholarship or college applications wrapped up by Thanksgiving as a general goal. If you can get them done before Thanksgiving, then you're in really good shape. If you can do it before that, that's even better. I also want you guys to do some research. So how many of you guys have been on a college campus already? Most of you, but not all. So if you guys haven't been on a college campus, I want you to try and at least go to one college campus this summer. Obviously, it's better to go to a college campus in the fall when there's more going on and there's students on campus. But if you have more time in the summer to go visit a campus, make sure that you do that. Just call up the admissions office. They'll set up an appointment for you, and they can, you can have lunch on campus. So that's great. If you want to meet with a coach, meet with a teacher, anybody that you need to talk to determine if that's a school is going to be a good fit for you, you want to do that on your college visit. One stop you might want to make is in the financial aid office. Although you guys are going to be way smarter than most of your peers regarding financial aid after this presentation, like I said, you want to go to each college campus, talk to someone in their financial aid office, and make sure you know about their deadlines, how their process works, and any scholarships that you can receive there. The counselors that work in financial aid offices are really going to be your friends in this process. We're on your side. We want to help you identify as many opportunities that exist for you on our campus to help you overcome any financial obstacles you're facing to paying for higher education. So when you meet with a financial aid counselor or an admissions counselor, be honest with them about any concerns you have about going to college at their school. If you come from a household where you're a first-generation college student and your parent doesn't know much about the college search process, let them know that. If you come from a household where you don't have a lot of resources financially to pay for school, be upfront with them about that so that they know where you're coming from and they can try and help you figure out what resources exist on their campus to make it a possibility for you. There's also something called a net price calculator on every college website that you can check out before you visit if you want to. So a lot of students will ask me, you know, like I just want to get a general idea of what type of aid I might get at your school. That's what a net price calculator will do for you. You can go onto the website of the admissions office or financial aid office typically, and you'll find something called a net price calculator or a true cost calculator. And basically what it does is ask you a couple questions like your test scores, GPA, ask some information about your family's finances, and it will estimate for you financial aid that you're eligible for from the FAFSA and from the school. It will also show you cost for the current school year, compare the aid that you might be eligible for to that cost, and tell you what your net price is going to be. It's really just an estimate. It's only going to be as good as the information that you put into that tool. I would never take it as gospel, as you know, this is what you're actually going to receive. But it's a good first step to look at what is potentially available to you at that campus. Then I would encourage you to either pick up the phone or go to the campus and talk to someone in admissions or financial aid. Let them know you filled out a net price calculator and this is what it told you, and they can kind of walk you through that and also talk about other opportunities that they can offer you. So this is what a net price calculator looks like. This is, you know, if you fill it out, it gives you results like this and tells you what the costs are, what type of financial aid might exist for you, what that aid is, like gift aid that doesn't have to be repaid, federal loans, work study options, and then it calculates a net price or an amount that's remaining for the family or student to potentially pay. Most of those calculators are going to assume that you're attending full-time and you're living on campus, just so you know. Those costs obviously should break out what is tuition and fees, which everyone has to pay. If you're planning to live on campus, you want to pay attention to the room and board charges. If you're not planning to live on campus, obviously you wouldn't pay those costs. So, a few tips for you guys as you move into your senior year. You want to finish up those applications, like I said, hopefully by November. And I don't know if you guys are modest, but I want you to brag on those applications, okay? If you're a modest person, just try and break out of that shell for a little bit when you're filling out the college applications and brag a little bit. I would also encourage you, after you finish your college application, to show it to a parent or show it to a coach or a friend or someone else. And especially when you list out activities that you've been involved in, there may be something that you don't think is a really big deal, but we want to know about it as colleges. We want to get to know you as best we can through that application. So have your applications reviewed by someone else, not only for like errors that you may have made, but also to make sure that you've included your full resume of activities on there. We already talked about visiting each campus. I also want you guys to make college and scholarships part of every conversation you have with an adult, whether that's grandma or another family member or someone that you know through your place of worship or at, you know, someone you encounter through your part-time job. Every conversation you have with an adult, let them know that you are planning to go to college and that you don't know how you're going to pay for it, and you're looking for any ideas that they have about you know, scholarships that you could apply for. You never know where those conversations are going to lead, so the more conversations you have like that, maybe it'll get you some good ideas about how to start your college scholarship search. If you guys haven't already taken an SAT or ACT test, make sure you sign up for one for this summer or early next fall. If you want to submit your college applications by early fall, you have to have a test score on file to do that. So you want to make sure you have at least one standardized test score done this summer or early next fall to submit on those applications. Another thing that you don't want to do is wait to request recommendations. Not every college application is going to require that you have recommendations, but every college out there will accept a recommendation if you include it with your application. And I think it's a good idea to have maybe one or two recommendations to include with your application. There's only so much that a college can really know about you through your test scores and the other parts of the application you're going to submit. So a recommendation from a teacher, a coach, an employer, or someone else that knows you pretty well is going to be a great way for that college to get to know you better and make sure that you're awarded all of the aid that you are eligible for. So if you want a good recommendation, you want to be kind and give your recommender enough time to give you that application before you need it. So if you all come back to here next fall and you all scramble to ask a teacher or someone else to write you a recommendation and you need that, in a couple of weeks to finish up your college applications, they're busy people, they're not going to have enough time to put towards writing a quality recommendation for you. If you identify a teacher or a coach or someone else and ask them right now to complete a college recommendation for you, then they'll have all summer to work on that. They can get it to you by next fall. It'll be a better recommendation because you've given more time to do that. And college scholarships you can start looking for right now. You guys cannot apply for college scholarships now because you're juniors. You won't be able to apply for them until next year. However, any college scholarships that are offered right now, either at a college or by an outside source, the same scholarships are typically offered each year. So if you can go out there and find some online college scholarships, make note of the deadlines for those scholarships. I'll bet you that same scholarship is going to be available next year and it's going to have the same deadline. So you can do some of the footwork right now of identifying scholarships you may be a good candidate for. Make a note of those, put them on your calendar so that you know when to look for those applications next year and you'll already be ahead of the game. Also, you can use seniors as a resource or other people you know who have recently gone to college. Those people have just gone through the application process and they probably looked for some scholarships. So if you know a senior or a college freshman, might want to talk with them about what did they do during their college scholarship search. Did they find any resources that were particularly helpful? Make note of those and check them out. That's a good way to find some opportunities as well. Let's talk just a little bit about outside scholarships. Like I mentioned, you guys will be applying for outside scholarships next year. Most of those deadlines will fall between January and April of your senior year. So obviously, if you have your applications for college done in November and you've got that out of the way, then you can start the college scholarship search through other sources in full force in December, over winter break, and on through the spring. You want to start locally, so start here in your high school or your local community. The more local scholarships you can identify and apply to, the much better chances you have of getting those scholarships, okay? You might want to use outside scholarship searches that are online like FastWeb, but just know that every student in the country is looking at FastWeb and applying for those same scholarships. So all of the scholarships that are on FastWeb are probably worthwhile applying for. You may find some that are more specific to your situation. You'll also find ones that are like, make a tuxedo out of duct tape for prom and take a picture of it, and you might get scholarship money. So if you want to do that, knock yourself out. But a lot of students are making duct tape tuxedos, okay? So your chances of getting that scholarship are pretty low. Even though it may be fun, you may not get the payout at the end. What you want to do is you want to find scholarships that are locally based. So through the high school here, they may help you identify some scholarship opportunities. In your local community, you can go online to some scholarships like scholarshipamerica.org, and then you can find out if they have local Dollars for Scholars chapters in your community. Those are scholarships that you have a much better chance of winning So I would look at those first. You definitely want to go online later on, but just don't spend all of your time looking for online searches because you'll put a lot of work in and you might not get a lot out of it. Never use any companies that charge a fee or say they can guarantee you a college scholarship for if you give them some money. It's probably a scam. Set some realistic goals and I want you to stick to them. So like I said, what most college students or high school seniors do is they don't look at college scholarships until about their winter break of their senior year. They've got a little break between the semesters. They look for college scholarships for about 2 weeks and apply for some, and then they don't look at it ever again. And that's not a good way to find opportunities. What you guys want to do, I'd like to challenge you during your senior year, go out and look for 2 scholarship opportunities online each week and try to apply for one of those opportunities each week. If you do that each week of your senior year, you're going to identify more opportunities and you're going to submit a lot more applications and you're going to build on that knowledge. So you submit one application, that's kind of like practice, right? And as you submit more applications, you're going to get better at it. Usually they require an essay and you can use the same essay and kind of tweak it for each one. Other things you guys might want to consider when you're applying to colleges and to outside scholarships is you might want to set up a more professional email. I don't know if your email is like soccercutie86 or something like that. That's cool. But if you're applying for a college scholarship, you probably don't want to list that as your email, okay? Set up another email account that you can use for college scholarships and maybe your college applications, that's maybe just your name or something like that. Just, think about it. So use free scholarship searches. If you answer more optional questions on web searches like fastweb.com, they will give you better results and you'll get more results. So I'd encourage you to answer as many of the optional questions as you're comfortable with so you get more results that way. Like I said, you might want to set up a new free email account for a couple of reasons. You might want to have a more professional account for your college scholarships, for your applications, but you also might want to use a different email for college scholarship searches because especially online ones run on ads, so they get money from ads, and so they provide you with good scholarship information, but they're also going to fill up your inbox with promotional stuff. So if you don't want to fill up your personal email with a bunch of promotional stuff about colleges, you might want to just set up a separate Gmail account and use that for your scholarship searching. Don't provide social security numbers or credit card numbers. If a college scholarship needs to know your financial information, they will ask you for what's called a student aid report, which is basically your FAFSA results. And you can provide that student aid report to them if you'd like, but I would not just hand over your social security number or credit card number for anything regarding scholarships. So, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the FAFSA. This is not the most fun you're going to have during your senior year, but it's not totally painful either. What you need to know about the FAFSA, or the free application for federal student aid, is that every student has to file this if they want to be considered for any need-based financial aid which is available from the state or federal government. A lot of schools will use this information as well to determine any sort of need-based grants that they might be able to offer to a student. So it's required to participate in loan programs. I went to college at St. Thomas, and I ended up paying for most of my college education myself. I wasn't like you guys and didn't sit in an information session like this. I didn't visit campuses. I didn't really do much my senior year, and because of that, I had to pay for most of my college through student loans. So I don't want you guys to be like me. I want you to get more of those scholarship dollars so you don't have to borrow as much. However, if you do have to borrow loans to pay for school like I did, you want to use those federal loans first. They're much better. They have a lot of advantages that don't come with private educational loans that are out there. Private educational loans are not bad, but these are better, so you want to use those first. People like me on college campuses want to help you. Like I said, we want to help you identify all the opportunities for you. There's no way that I can do that without the FAFSA. So you need to file the FAFSA so that I can provide you with a complete financial aid award notice and you know about all your options for paying for school. Each school is going to use this information somewhat differently. So like I said, some schools may use it to offer their own money, but every school will use it to offer those federal and state dollars. And with financial aid, there's only one guarantee, and that's if you don't apply, you get nothing, okay? So if you don't apply for scholarships, I can guarantee you, you're not gonna get any scholarships. If you don't apply for FAFSA, you're not gonna get any aid from the federal or state government. It's free, it's relatively easy to apply, so you wanna make sure you make that part of your to-do list during your senior year. Now, you guys are probably gonna help your parents file this application. If you're required to include parent data on your FAFSA, a lot of times parents are involved with their information, but you guys should be involved as well because you are going to be way better at navigating this website and getting through all the forms that you have to fill out. A lot of times parents get tripped up, they don't know what it's asking, they don't navigate the website properly, and they make some mistakes. So it's best if you guys can work together. You know, you're going to need some parent information to fill out this application. You're going to need your tax information as well. But if you do it as a team, hopefully it goes pretty smoothly. Now, previously, you needed the most recent tax year to fill out the FAFSA. You guys are going to be filling out the 2018-19 FAFSA for your freshman year. So previously, you would have had to use the 2017 taxes, which is the most recent year. However, they just changed the law to push back the data that you use. So the 2016 federal taxes that your parents just filed, and if you guys filed federal taxes as well in 2016, that's the information you're going to use to file your FAFSA for next year. So what that means is that you already have the application or the information that you need to fill out this application as soon as it's available. The FAFSA,